Thank you very much, Dr. Raymond Omolo, Principal Secretary for Internal Security, the DCI, Director of Criminal Investigations in our country, Mohammed Amin, all the senior officers who are here, who have been working here tirelessly since the last time I was here, members of the civil society, all government officers, humanitarian workers, volunteers, partners, members of the fourth estate. It's a great privilege for me to return here again. This is an exercise like no other. This is a tragedy like no other, as I keep on saying every time I come here. We have not been here before. Our country has not suffered this kind of setback before, and slowly, it is sinking in that one of the most passionate and softest aspect of human life, which is religion, has caused the country so much pain and has hurt humanity in this manner. So our many trips here, all of us, those who are coming from Nairobi, is to stand in solidarity with the officers here, the volunteers here, civil society here, the press who have come here for months now, maybe this second month, and the local community, to express our great displeasure, sadness, and to condemn what has happened here in Shakahola Forest. On today's occasion, we've been able to start off our team. The Motiaj is the team that has been involved in the exhumation of bodies, which we had stopped about a week ago, maybe 10 days ago, to enable us carry out the post-mortem examination of the 129 bodies which we had retrieved from this forest in phase 2 of the exhumation. That exercise was concluded last week, and right now, between phase 1 and phase 2, we have a total death toll of 242 people who have lost their life in the manner in which they have lost their lives here in this forest. And this morning, we have overseen the commencement of the third phase of exhumations, because we still have graves that are unopened in this forest, and our teams are doing a great job. I would like to emphasize that we are very satisfied as government with the teams that are carrying out that exercise, because we need to be careful to do it within the law and also to meet international standards that relates to handling scenes of crime involving this kind of crimes. The investigations surrounding mass graves and how they are processed, I am happy to report that our multi-agency teams, led by the DCI Homicide Directorate or Unit, are doing a good job. They are observing the laws of our country, and they are also observing international protocols on handling this kind of a matter. It just speaks to the fact that Kenya has come of age in some of these things. We've had a lot of outpouring of sympathy from other countries, but this is basically an exercise that we are leading ourselves, and we have told our friends when need be, in the process of accountability, because the journey is still long, we might require some support of this nature or the other nature, but at the moment I'm satisfied to report that the teams there are doing a great job. So we don't know, again, unfortunately, we don't know how long this will take, but as soon as we are satisfied that we need again to do autopsy, we will stop the process so that again we do the things in the manner in which we have done it in the past, methodically, scientifically, procedurally, within the law, and also so that we preserve the dignity of the victims and their families. So we are not able to estimate the time again because we don't know how much more work lies ahead. As I promised the country last time I was here, and many more other times where I've spoken about this matter, the government of Kenya promises to tell the world the whole truth on what happened here on our soil. We have nothing to hide, and we will share the truth as much as we take stock of the lessons that we can pick from this terrible incident to ensure that a matter like this is never recorded again in our country. Secondly, we have been able to be appraised of where we are in terms of the search and rescue and the search for graves. And that process is ongoing well. As I've said, it is progressing in accordance with the relevant international standards and protocols. And one of the operational decisions that we have made is for the ease of the search and rescue of any victims that could still be outstanding within the precincts of this forest, and also to aid the search for graves. A decision has been taken to open up security roads within Chakama Ranch so that we can be able to do roads and create compartments so that every 100 acres we are able to do the search and rescue, both for victims and for graves, in a methodical, systematic, scientific, and final manner. As I promised on behalf of government, we will not leave any of our people in this forest, whether they are dead or they are alive. We will get them. And for that to happen, we have been supported, the National Police Service and the multi-agency teams here, we've been supported by the Kenya Defense Forces to open enough security roads. And therefore, one of the things we've done with my colleagues here is to go and oversee that process of opening up of security roads within this ranch so that we can have a systematic search and rescue for victims and for graves. It may take a bit of time, but as I said, complex crimes of this nature and this magnitude cannot be processed instantaneously. They require time. And even where there have been international crimes of this nature in other countries, it has taken time even for the first suspect to be charged in court. And therefore, we have, as a policy, we have directed that the process, the legal process, must be done methodically and conclusively. And we will apply the relevant legal provisions to hold the primary suspect as long as it is possible under the law to make sure that we prepare for the case. And part of that preparation involves concluding the search and rescue for victims of this crime, and also the search and rescue for those victims who succumbed to death as a result of this brutal attack on humanity. So that exercise commences today. Again, we do not know how long it will take, but It's going to take a pretty short period of time. In the meantime, the search and rescue continues. We have not recorded many instances of rescue in the last few days. And we suspect that the number of victims who could be alive could be diminishing. And I want to commend the search and rescue team for doing a great job. And up to now, we've been able to save 95 lives, which would have been lost if it was not for the teams that have been combing this forest on land, sometimes using aerial equipment like drones, day and night. I am grateful that at least 29 people who would have died in the hands of these criminals have been rescued. And many of them are recuperating, they are stabilizing. Some of them, about 19, have been reunited with their families. They may not have been released yet because we need to stabilize them, and they need also to assist us with investigations, but at least 19 of those 95 who have been rescued have been reunited with their families. We have also continued to profile those that succumbed to death by collecting DNA samples, and we've collected 93 DNA samples so far. And I want to request the families and the communities that are affected to bear again with us, because the processing of DNA examinations and the processing of the results of DNA takes a little bit of time. But we are almost there in terms of providing a roadmap on when that process could also conclude. But it's going to take a bit of time because it's a scientific process and it cannot be processed instantaneously. Besides that, this afternoon, we've also received the progress report of the investigations, especially the investigations surrounding those that we consider to be the most responsible offenders and perpetrators of the heinous crimes against humanity and other serious crimes that have been committed here in Shakahola. We've made good progress in that front. Our investigative agencies have assured us that we have a proper case for finding culpable the main suspect and all his collaborators for serious crimes, including genocide, crimes against humanity, extermination, murder, and all other crimes that are on the table and are being processed in terms of linking the evidence we have with the elements of various crimes. For the first time in our country, we are going to have a prosecution by our local judicial institutions of international crimes. And therefore, we are giving effect to a number of our laws that have not been tested locally before. One is the International Crimes Act of 2008, which criminalizes genocide, crimes against humanity, extermination, and all those crimes that I've mentioned. Number two, we'll be implementing locally the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, Articles 6 and 7 on genocide and crimes against humanity, because that treaty is part of the law of our country by virtue of Article 2, Paragraph 5 of the Constitution, that says that every international treaty or convention to which Kenya is a party is part of our national law. So we are again testing the Rome Statute in our soil, the International Crimes Act, and also other laws which we have prosecuted successfully before, including the Prevention of Terrorism Act and so forth and so on. In a nutshell, without preempting the investigations, because it is wrong to do so, I want to assure the people of Kenya that we have a case, and it's just a matter of time before Mr. Mackenzie and his collaborators face their destiny in our courts. We have enough evidence to pin him and his collaborators to the most egregious and most horrible crimes against the human race. As I said yesterday from Taita Taveta, this is a case like no other. The government and the prosecution agencies of Kenya cannot afford to lose this case. We must convict, we must prosecute and have convicted Mr. Mackenzie and his collaborators. And for that reason, we are working extremely hard. I want to congratulate the investigators who are working in a multi-agency format in this prosecution-led investigations within the laws of our country to make sure that this case is won. It must be won. And for all those who are family members and victims of this crime, the assurance I give you is the assurance that the government of Kenya will bring to book and will convict the perpetrators of what has happened here in Shakahola. So we've had, again, as I've said, an update on where we are on the investigations. Allow me, before I end my remarks, to say two other things. One, what has happened here is not a small matter. It's not a small matter for Kenya. It's not a small matter for humanity all over the world. What has happened here is a grave outrage on humanity. And for that reason, the scene of crime where this most horrendous criminal work has been carried out can never be again reverted to normal and ordinary human activity. And for that reason, once the scene of crime is clear of the investigations and subject to any directions that may be given by the judiciary, the scene of crime will be taken over as a national memorial. And therein, government, in consultations with the members of the public, including the local community, will convert this scene of crime to a place of remembrance so that many, many generations to come, many centuries into the future, Kenya and the world will never forget that there was this kind of outrage on humanity here in Shakahola. This is not a place that can be reverted to farming and to ranching and to other human activities, because the souls of our brothers and sisters, adults and children that we've lost here require much more dignity than that. We will be making a decision on what it will be useful. But as I've said, it will be a place of remembrance, lest we forget what has happened to humanity from here in Shakahola. The second and last point that I want to make is that once the investigating agencies clear the scene of crime, we shall, in consultation again with the members of the public, including the local community, we shall be calling for a national congregation of all faiths, all religious faiths within this vicinity, so that again the true believers of faith from every religion and every faith and the leadership of our country at all levels can converge here and stand in solidarity with our people whom we have lost in this manner, and the local community and the country, and make a pronouncement in solidarity with the victims of this egregious crime from here. And that will be a commemoration service presided over by men and women of faith from various religions, so that we can also be able to rescue the damage that some people would want to visit on the different religions we have in this country, so that we can be able to rescue the sacred right to the freedom of worship in our Constitution, which has been threatened and defiled by crooks and criminals and thugs who have been hiding behind scriptures of different religions to cause crime or to commit crime. And Mr. Mackenzie belongs to that category of crooks and criminals who are hiding behind religion to defile religion. Yet we know religion has done very many positive things. Christianity, Islam, and all other religions, they have done great things to enhance humanity, to support even government efforts, to bring development closer to the people, to counsel and nurture people, to solve so many problems in families, communities. Yet we have a few crooks, 0.01%, who use religion to do the kind of things Mr. Mackenzie and team has done here. Nataka niwashukuru na niseme ya kwamba mahali hapa apata kuwa mahali pa kawaida tena. Mahali hapa pata kuwa mahali pa ukumbusho, ili nchi yetu na ulimwengu mzima tusija tukasahau ya kwamba wakati moja wakora, wauaji, majambazi waliojificha katika dini walikuja hapa wakasababisha vifo vya nafsi nyingi sana za watu wetu, wakiwemo wazee, akina mama na watoto wadogo. Kwa hivyo serikali itafanya kumbukumbu katika sehemu hii na itashughulikia masuala ya wale ambao wanamiliki sehemu hii wakati wa sasa, ili tuhakikishe pamekuwa pahali pa makumbusho ya yale ambayo yalitendeka hapa, ambayo ni makosa ya jinai. Na mwisho tumesema ya kwamba baada ya vikosi vya upelelezi kumaliza kazi yao, vile vile katika eneo hili tukishauriana na wananchi na jamii ya hapa, tutafanya ibada maalum ya ambayo itaongozwa na viongozi wa dini tofauti ambazo ziko katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, na viongozi wetu wote wa kitaifa watakuwa pale, ili tuweze kwa kauli moja kulaani wale ambao ni wachache, wakora, magaidi, wahalifu ambao wametumia dini kuleta maafa, kuleta vifo na kunajisi kazi nzuri ya watu wengi wa dini ambao wamefanya mambo mema katika jamii yetu. Kwa hivyo mimi nimefurahi kuwa hapa siku ya leo. Leo tumeanzisha kufungua barabara za kiusalama ili tuhakikishe barabara hizo zitatumika na vikosi vyetu vya usalama kutafuta wale ambao labda bado wako pale wakiwa hai, ama wale ambao labda wamezikwa katika makaburi katika msitu huu wa Shakahola. Tumefungua hiyo awamu ya kufungua barabara. Nashukuru vikosi vyetu vya usalama wa ulinzi wa taifa kwa kushirikiana na sisi na maafisa wa usalama wa ndani ili jambo hilo litekelezwe. Na vile vile tumepata taarifa kuhusu upelelezi na tuko na uhakika, tuko na ushahidi ambao tukiuweka pamoja na kujitayarisha tutaweza kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale washukiwa ambao tumewakamata watahukumiwa. Na nimesema hii ni kesi ya kipekee, na serikali ya Kenya kupitia vyombo vya upelelezi na vyombo vya haki ikiwemo ofisi ya mkuu wa mashtaka ya umma, sisi zote kama vyombo vya serikali na vyombo vya haki tutahakikisha kwamba hii kesi haitafeli. Lazima wenye walifanya hawa mambo wapatikane na hatia, na lazima wapewe nidhamu kali zaidi hapa duniani kulingana na sheria ya Kenya. Na vile vile hawa watu kwa sababu wamedhuru sheria za kimataifa, ile sheria na ile hukumu itaambatana vile vile na sheria za kimataifa ambazo kwa mujibu wa katiba yetu ni baadhi ya sheria ambazo zinatumika hapa nchini. Asanteni sana. If there is one question I can take one or maybe two maximum. Yes, Mtalaki.
Yes, so perhaps from the surveyor's point of view, have you been able to pinpoint exactly the area or space, the acreage that Mr. Mackenzie was operating? And two, some clarification on the demarcation, 500 and 200 acres, maybe, and the expansion.
Now the evidence that is available at the moment suggests that Mr. Mackenzie's activities of killing people and burying them may have extended beyond the 800 acres from where he was operating. And therefore, we are looking actually technically at the entire 50,000 acres of Chakama Ranch, but particularly based on the evidence we have, we might restrict the initial scrutiny on approximately 37,000 acres, where we have found evidence that perhaps Mr. Mackenzie would have extended his criminal activities beyond the initial 800 acres. On the issue of the blocks, as I have said, every 100 acres will be turned into one block. As we go further, we may expand that to 200, maybe to 500, depending again on the evidence of either human activity or any disturbance that suggests that we could be having evidence as we go further from the Mackenzie, the initial place where Mackenzie had concentrated his criminal activities. Last one. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name is Alphonse Gary. I was asking Banawaziri, you, as the state, you said you have a strong case against Mackenzie and his guys, but there's been a statement that Mackenzie would remain, you said Mackenzie would remain in jail forever.
Yes.
It's portraying like it already has been convicted. And number two,
yes.
why did it take so long
One, on the statement I made yesterday, which I want to repeat here, we will get Mackenzie and his collaborators convicted on the basis of evidence and the law. It's as simple as that. And the reason why I said that he will stay in prison forever is because I am aware the kind of punishment that is given to people who commit the kind of crimes he has committed, based on my professional background. I'm aware what kind of punishment is visited on such people. So he will not see the light of day. He will stay there for the remainder of his life, and then he can go and account for his crimes later on in the life hereafter. So I can say that without any fear of contradiction. On the second issue, I think we have repeated this, but it's not enough to repeat it. You heard the president say that perhaps what happened here should not have happened. And he did apologize and say, since some of these activities go back to 3, 4, 5 years, what happened here and the magnitude of what happened should not have happened. And I took cue from the president and said, as the Minister for Security, I also apologize because this should not have happened. But I also said, which I want to repeat here, that in terms of bringing to account those who caused this, we are not going to restrict ourselves to Mr. Mackenzie and his collaborators. I said every person who either contributed in one way or the other to this must be brought to account, even if he's a public official, even if he's a security officer. So the accountability bit is the saving grace. But I also gave an assurance that, bad as this matter is, this administration will make sure that the tightening of the legal, policy, institutional, and procedural structures is done in such a way that it will be impossible for a crook of this magnitude to cause us this kind of harm again. It's the best we can do. And by the way, it happens. It's not unique to Kenya. It happens. And last time I gave you a chronology of countries that have suffered this kind of attacks, even fairly sophisticated countries more than our country. So we will bring to book everyone involved. We will ensure that this does not happen again. And if this doesn't change Kenya and the way we handle our national security, I don't think anything else will ever change our country. Thank you very much. God bless you, and have a good evening. At 5 p.m., the team leader of the Operation Okoa Maisha, Regional Commissioner Rhoda Onyancha, will give you the usual briefs at 5 p.m. They'll be able to tell you whether we've recovered any bodies today, whether we have any rescues, etc., in the normal way. And every other day, they'll be able to give you an update, and they'll also be able to allow 1 or 2 representatives from the media to go and be with the teams